Hey Yaroslav, it's the
Hey.
11th of March,
Yeah.
and we're meeting up again. This time it's not in that office space that I had the other time. But
This time we're in a cyberspace.
we're in cyberspace, which is not bad. It's kind of cool. I'm using a new tool. It's
Yeah.
something I just got. It's called Call Recorder, and Call Recorder for the Mac. It's not the one from the App Store though. That's on your Mac. I actually Googled just Call Recorder for
Okay.
Skype, and it came up, and it's brilliant. It lets me record split screen, quite neat. So we'll see how
Cool.
it looks. But maybe we'll judge it not good enough.
Yeah.
But
We'll see. Yeah.
So there was a couple of things I thought we'd just chat about today, just silly things.
Yeah.
One of them is Google Glasses.
Yeah.
We gotta,
Yeah.
everyone's talking Google Glass, so I figure we've got to say one or two things regarding it around SharePoint and CRM. And I'm wondering, can you genuinely think of a use for Google Glass with a SharePoint install?
So you told me about Google Glasses, and I'm like, what's that? And then I Googled it, and I see what it is, and it's
Sergey Brin's been wearing these non-stop. You haven't seen him. His
I-
crazy pictures of him in the subway in New York.
who is that? Sorry.
Sergey Brin of Google wearing these crazy
Oh, right.
glasses.
Well, of course, right.
Yeah.
But I could see some. I mean, it sounds initially like something out of a science fiction, right? But
Right.
applications are pretty. It's basically yet another control device, right? It's just like
Yeah.
your mouse, your touchpad. You touch the screen, so
That's
this is
true.
kind of yet another extension.
It's another
to-
output and input device.
Exactly,
So,
and
so
if
where you could use this with SharePoint. I'm in a meeting,
yeah,
everyone's sitting around the table,
yeah,
and we want to bring up the document that we're discussing. And
yeah,
instead of everybody having laptops in front of
Mhm.
their faces around the meeting room,
yeah.
why doesn't everybody have Google Glass with the document we're discussing? From
And nobody can
SharePoint?
tell. And nobody can tell you're checking your email, right?
Nobody can tell you're checking.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
Confidential documents,
Yeah.
or people have those huge documents on a plane with a screen protector thing, and
Yeah.
and this completely, so it's kind of like
No need for
it's
the
two in
screen
one.
protector.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can have your own custom meeting notes open from SharePoint in a meeting. And then I was thinking, well, CRM, what possible use would Google Glass be for CRM? And what about if you're at a conference or a networking event
hmm
and there's facial recognition on
Yeah.
Google Glasses, and it goes back to your CRM system
Yeah.
and pulls up the person you need to talk to at the conference
Yeah. Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
details on them. So, I mean, you could see you hooking it into CRM that way.
If those were a little bit less geeky and looked like real glasses and people could have a double utility out of them,
Right.
then I think those would be even more successful. It's just right now it looks like you're obviously wearing a gadget.
Yeah, and I mean that's the problem I have with those the Bluetooth earpiece. I won't wear those, and I know a lot of people won't wear those just because it looks
Yeah.
too much like you're trying too hard to be super
Yeah.
tacky. It just looks weird. If it was on a contact lens,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that would be-
it'll get there, right? I'm sure it's already there in some
right?
areas.
Right.
But no, I mean those are great, like for privacy of information. And another thing is also accessibility, right? There's people that are not able to use mouse or keyboard, right? So
Yeah, hey, that's a really good point.
yeah. So that's the point. Or it actually goes a little bit beyond just SharePoint as a or CRM application. It's more like it's what connected it to gaming,
Yeah.
right? It's the same game, just now there's yet another input method.
Right.
So
I could totally see CRM and SharePoint. I started this conversation thinking Google Glasses, SharePoint, CRM. Come on, get a life. No one needs to do that. I'm gonna move my screen over here a little bit. No one needs to do that. That's crazy for CRM. But the more I think about it, yeah, I mean CRM for those marketing events.
yeah,
SharePoint for nothing in a meeting.
yeah, yeah,
No, I see it. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't bash Google Glasses so much anymore then. I'll
How are
wait
you?
and
I've
make
been.
sure- Well, I just thought it was too corny.
Well,
I mean, no
it's
one
just
wants
the
to wear
one,
that.
right?
I wear glasses, and I wouldn't want that thing sitting on the edge. And you saw this week, there's a bar in Seattle where they run a preemptive strike on Google Glasses. They said Google Glasses are not allowed in this bar because they don't want people taking pictures of other people while they're at the bar.
Right.
And I know there's
Is
a rule.
there so many of them? Is there so many of them? It's like
it's an advertising thing.
Oh, right.
Advertising. But it does make a valid point. And the pool where I take my kids swimming on the weekend, they have a no camera policy in the pool. They do not want you taking pictures of kids because other kids are in there. And,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And hey, the other big thing that's going on this week that I thought we mentioned quickly is South by Southwest is going on, which is that great big nerdtastic event in Austin where everybody gets together, and there's been some tech releases there, apps have been
you told me about it
there. And I'm jealous that another year of South by Southwest has gone by and I haven't been there. And
anything about CRM in there usually?
No, they won't have a thing. And in fact, the only thing that SharePoint will be used for at South by Southwest is it may be a CMS system for some people blogging. And that's about the only way I can see SharePoint getting into South by Southwest. It's not really that type of an event. It's also media. It's media, music, gaming companies go there. Some apps might be released there. But it's not. And there is talk of South by Southwest being the new CES.
How many people?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
Right.
I'm curious to know myself.
So it's a consumer thing, mostly consumer thing, right?
Yeah, it's mostly a networking thing is what I think.
A bunch of VCs get together.
Yes. Yeah. And people going down there to flog their ideas. Yeah. But and then that raises an interesting question for me on the SharePoint side. And that's SharePoint as a CMS. I don't generally think of SharePoint as a CMS. I think of SharePoint as the document management system. Check in, check out. It's my F drive on the web.
Right.
I've got workflows, and I can build collaborative project sites. But as a CMS for a web front end, for somebody blogging, first of all, Joe Schmo blogging is not going to use. Do you know about Joe Schmo? They're not going to use SharePoint as a CMS, are they?
Well, here's a couple of things why, right? Yeah, you're right. You have to be really big fan. Like, I'm running my blog on WordPress, right?
Yeah.
And
myself
the reason why is the public site template is not there yet. And second of all, like, you look how many themes WordPress has, and I still sometimes find, that's not enough. I want more. I want better themes, and they're to click install, right? Yeah. You download the thing, and there's like thousands of them. And there's widgets, or what do they call it? Widgets. I think they call it widgets, right? For WordPress. And for SharePoint, it's not there. There is an app store, though, and it launched this year. Did you know that? There's an app store for SharePoint?
And what's the address of the app store? I think I knew it was coming, but I haven't gone and looked. I'll definitely go take a look now that.
I don't know what's the name. It's actually called an app store, and if you search for Office 2013 apps or SharePoint 2013 apps, there's a bunch of apps. And in fact, I submitted 5 apps, so my apps are for sale there.
Hey, that's fantastic. Hey, we got to put that in the doobly-doo down below. Where that SharePoint store is. And we'll put links to your apps. Hey, what apps do you have on the store then?
Oh, there's stupid ones, but that's something that I wanted to have on the. I'll tell you in a sec.
Okay.
But the stuff that I wanted to have, for WordPress, things like image slider, like some announcement thing, and I think a friend of mine submitted a YouTube feed or Twitter feed sort of thing.
Right.
So stuff that you would get on WordPress with no problem, there wasn't in an app store. So I submitted a couple of those into an app store. And another step.
Why doesn't someone submit
a
consumer front end style thing to the app store?
It'll get there, right? Like it'll take, like it's both. It's technology and excitement, and there's lots of also limitations. Like one thing that I found out, how in WordPress you can just apply branding really quickly. You can just apply a theme right there. There's thousands of themes there. People develop their own. Like until recently, I think I was one of the first people that actually figured out how to do that as an app in SharePoint. so until recently, there was no way to sell your branding as an app. So now you could, 'cause it's just a technological limitation.
Right.
So I've been, I spent a couple of weekends trying to figure it out. I got it. I blogged about it, put it on a little video about it, how to do that. So you can now sell your branding as an app, and hopefully that'll add yet another sort of a feeling. Oh, it's almost like WordPress, and
yeah. It's going to take a lot of developers building. I mean, all it really needs, that stickiness will come over time if the developer community gets excited.
I agree.
And Microsoft does always seem to focus on the developer community. So hopefully they push for people building apps for SharePoint.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, that's why a lot of people are submitting apps to, Apple App Store and not Windows, phone. I mean, there's a lot of apps for Windows Phone, but let's face it, not as much as for Apple, right? So just because of a sheer choice, that's why people go for the platform. Although it's changing now.
Yeah.
But the choice of all the variety of apps definitely makes a difference.
Hey, there's a Windows phone out there that actually I think is a sexy phone. It's that new Nokia, that Nokia Lumia. That I think that's the best looking phone. No, I'm all Apple. I'm all Apple. But and I'm not switching. I'm not switching now. I'm too far into the ecosystem to pull out of that ecosystem. But that Nokia Lumia, I mean, that's a good looking phone. It's a great looking phone.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
The tile system that Microsoft has built, it is unique. It's their own thing. Like, there's no mixing it up with the Android or the iPhone stuff. It really is unique. I think I'm concerned that it's just too late to the game. Like I'm afraid BlackBerry might be. It's just too late to the game.
Yeah, but think of it this way: if they didn't do it, then it would be so far behind.
Right.
So they gotta do it at least to follow.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to be the leaders or they're hoping to be the leader, that's another question. But they got to at least, people are going to be like, well, listen.
Or whether at some point Microsoft pulls the plug on it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Does it cost to run that division? And you got people like Nokia building those great Lumia phones. So, yeah. Okay. Well, hey, that was really all I had for us talking today. I don't even know how long we've been talking for.
15 minutes or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the amount of time. That's good enough for today.